from all of us to every one of you for jumping on board, getting us through 400,000 subscribers on YouTube as of this morning. So huge day. Thanks to everyone that continues to show up every day along with us. A number of individual movers still, really interesting moves shaping up here this afternoon. One of those, just watching this Intel back to the upside. There was a pop there through that 31.25 on an AWS note. Apparently AWS using a new Intel chip for some operations that they're doing right now, but still pretty ugly day overall for Intel, down 1.7%. It's all about bull markets around here, though. S&P officially back in bull market territory, 20% off the October lows. NASDAQ hitting fresh 2023 highs, as well as Tesla does Tesla-type things once again today to the tune of 5% right now. We are off the highs, however. Another ugly day for Dish Network, notable decliner right now, down more than 10%. Match, Netflix, both 5 and 3%, offsetting pretty much all of that, along with Google and Goog and Google there, and Meta, tough to see, but also in positive territory. It's all about these, though, over here. Software, hardware, and the semiconductors all to the upside. There's Intel, 1.5 downside. Some of the clean energy related names under pressure as well, 1.9 downside as well. Consumer discretionary under a little bit of pressure if you look at durable goods and apparel makers. Outside of that, though, not bad. Etsy, 5.3%. TJX, 2%. Expedia, CCL, and as we said, Tesla having a pretty good afternoon so far. We are dealing with a mixed afternoon overall, but we are still in positive territory as we are looking at wrapping up the week to the upside. Let's get into a few things we were discussing. If you joined us in the pre-market this morning, one of those was not Intel, but we'll keep an eye on Intel on that AWS note. If you're just joining, welcome back in this afternoon. Amazon positive now. Did briefly go into negative territory there, but we're back to the upside after a decent move to kick things off early on this morning. More positive talk surrounding AI. It's been a pretty wild week right across the board for streaming names as well on the back of this ad-supported tier. Amazon, one of those, going back to 2 days ago, but trying to extend the gains here, guys, for AMZN.
Very slight gains, though. Amazon is literally up 0.2%. Welcome, we're back. I think there was a little bit of issue with the stream there, but we're here. We're square and all that other good stuff. So Amazon's just basically hugging VWAP right now. I would say, like, for most of the day, this was the inside day trade. It made the high very, very early, just underneath 126. It then took the morning consolidation and said you're not going past that number, and look at us now. I'm not in it, so I shouldn't say us, but look at it just hugging VWAP. So maybe you want to say that's a nothing burger, but if we do make another press higher, that could set up a breakout. I would have loved to have seen us maybe test that 127. That was a big level yesterday, or 2 days ago, but it doesn't seem like it's in the cards. It plays in either direction. I almost don't care where it breaks. If you break away from VWAP, this is an opportunity to either get back to the lows for $1.20 or back to the highs for $1.50. So we got to watch out for Amazon. It's looking like it wants to curl. I thought the way that the NASDAQ had just made that churn was all green. Felt like we were going back into the highs. I have one position. Oh, you can't see it because I have to take a fill somewhere, and then you'll see it. All I have is Apple, Apple long. That one's working to 182, but I would like to have something else if we're going to make a break to the highs. Seems like you got to be patient here because the market wants to pull back in. So it might not be Amazon after all. Intel's interesting, though.
Intel. I'm looking at one of the other chip names here, AMD. I liked that 125 level earlier today. Then we kind of do this little dance below it. Now we're trading back above. I'm wondering, like, if we get back down into 125 here, do we see some size there and give an opportunity to get a long? It looks like we're kind of just trending off the 50 period at the moment, but that's exactly pretty much where 125 is. So maybe there's an opportunity for a trade there on AMD into the close. I did try Carvana too, which didn't work there at 20, but yeah, Tesla as well got stopped out of. I had the bottom there on Tesla. You had it. I mean, it was still a great trade, but I just trailed it a little bit close at this 246 by the time we got trading up above there. And then trail out, I should have just left it at the 245, which was my last ad. That's where I had it initially, 244.99. But you know, you get in the money, you don't want to get out. But I mean, at the end of the day, this was, I don't know, like 15% of the position left. So most of it was kind of this scalp off the bottom.
You know what they say?
Idea.
You can move, you never move your stop, but usually that means don't move it back. You can move your stop up.
Yeah.
It's never, like, you can hate yourself moving your stop up and then it continues to go, but it's never the end of the world that you move your stop up and preserve profit. It's when you move it back and suddenly take a bigger loss that it's a no-go. So, I don't know, I'm not going to...
Where I struggle usually is like trail stopping your position that's well into the money. So I've been trying to just do it and set a stop and not let something come all the way back on me.
Yeah.
But, you know, you got to finesse it sometimes, I guess.
In order to learn from making decisions, you've got to actually make decisions and then just kind of figure them out as you go. Because I suck at trailing stops, like really bad. But no, it's actually true. Like I never know the right place to do it. And when I try to hold on too long, we'll get to some other things in the rundown. Like my trail out on Neo ends up being trash, right? Like I probably should have moved all the way up in here instead of giving it almost all the way back. And it was on SoFi. It was basically arguably worse than that. Oops, SoFi is a NASDAQ stock, Neil. Oh, yeah, well, actually, I got back in. So I added into this, so it's a little bit different on this one because I added back in on VWAP and still stopped out. Oh, Intel just filled me, so I just got a long in front of VWAP there. That'll be interesting. So I was short Intel all day long. After we just saw that bit of a note, I'm going long in front of 31.15. It's about 10 cents worth of risk, but if this is going to hang on and do a reversal, I like its chances because it was getting shellacked before.
All right, we'll get into some of the other topics we were discussing. If you joined us in the pre-market this morning, technical issues, guys, bear with us. I'll go back to what I was mentioning at 2 o'clock, right when we came on. A huge day around here for us in general. Once again, from all of us here to everyone who continues to show up every single day, we appreciate you very, very much. Welcome to all of the new subscribers. We got through 400,000 subscribers today on YouTube. So a huge day for us. Thank you once again from everyone here to everyone who watches on a daily basis. Let's talk Tesla. There was a couple of interesting notes this morning from Tesla, not one but two. Analysts' price target increases. First off, Wedbush, the first one, $300. That's Bitcoin in the background there, if you're wondering. Just wondering what was going on with Bitcoin. And the answer is absolutely nothing. And then the other one, this GM note, if you missed it this morning, GM joining Ford, if you remember yesterday, going to adopt Tesla's charging network technology.
Yeah, and that's good news because if you're not on the Tesla charging network, chances are you're probably waiting a long time or you may not get a charge at all because a lot of downtime on these public charging networks. We know that some of the other names that are in EV charging like ChargePoint, Blink, EVgo, they're all down the day that Ford, GM, and now Tesla unite.
Yeah, nice look. Most of this coming after the close yesterday on that GM note. If you missed it, Mary Barra on a Twitter Spaces event with Elon, in fact, making this announcement. So, yeah, 5% today for Tesla, but I mean, a bit of a tough trade, guys. Kind of back and forth all day.
Was it though? I don't know. I kind of stopped trading it aggressively when it couldn't hold on to 245. It was good off the open, no question about that. So, you know, Tesla, it gave you that ridiculous gap up. You know, you like that mid-30s. Well, welcome to the pre-market, and it was bouncing back and forth off 250. On an options day, that made it very tricky to want to be in at the open, especially if you're going to go long on a 250 break. That far gapping the upside, I don't think anybody really wanted that. It gave the dip into 245. I did try the long up here into 250. That lasted seconds. The 45 to 50 was good. The 50 break was good, and then, I don't know, I guess I remember this. So yeah, got the break, did not get any out in 52. Shout out to Momo, who said 52 was going to be resistance, as we all wanted it to moon through 52. And when it bounced off 50, tried the long again. That got stopped out tight. At least it was a tight stop. That's about the good thing about it. And then I tried rolling into a 46 short. That looked pretty solid. And then you see what happens here. Like, as it's going down, I look at myself taking it. Look at the exit, exit, exit. Try to catch falling knife, exit. Like, I don't know why I'm not at least considering the notion of a short. through 245 there. But that was a great break if you took it. And quite frankly, I just gave some back with that last long position, not being more aggressive taking the dollar, I guess. I tried one short for a very tight stop, and that's it for me on Tesla. But that 245 break, after it holds in the morning, we take breakouts all the time to the upside. And I was just sitting there staring at it and then not taking the breakdown. I don't know why there, Max. Because at least I was thinking about it, and then at about 243.50, I was like, probably should have taken that short.
Yeah, that short would have been pretty good for a $2 scalp there, or almost, I guess it gets like $3. 242 was the low. I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking long, so I had an order actually to go long back through 245 if it just kind of wicked down and then went straight back through. Just because I have been like so bullish on Tesla today, I ended up trying 244 twice, which cost me quite a bit of money actually, and then end up getting the bottom twice off of 243 2 times in a row there, and end up getting that move back up. Yeah, in the morning, this was not super clean. Like that 250 break was pretty gross. I ended up punching out in like the 30s eventually by the time that break failed. So that was kind of nasty. But yeah, that original 250, you could have taken it back down saying like, you know, if you flip this chart upside down, I would be saying that this was a liquidity grab scenario to the downside and then it's blasting off to the upside. So, you know, maybe young Wayne back there is right that I need to flip my charts upside down to trade things short. But happy with the long trades that I have had. I do wish that I got this 246 one more time, but you know, you can't be in the chair all day or else you'll probably lose your mind. I don't know how you feel about that.
Or do different things in the chair. I find like you can sit in the chair. At a point where I would do crosswords, not anymore, but I'll maybe like, you know, message friends, maybe check out some sports. Like you've got to take your brain away from trading for at least some time throughout the day. Otherwise, you will overtrade. Sometimes you have emails to go through. Figure something out. I also, this is off topic. I thought you guys called him Wayne the Brain.
Wayne the Brain.
I
haven't heard that.
Every time, well, I see you guys, the traders on the floor, I always hear people say Wayne the Brain.
Wayne the Brain? That's Sharif?
That's a Sharif thing? Okay.
Wayner is, I think that was me that called him Wayner initially. I don't know. Might have been Prad.
Okay.
It's me? Prad says it was me. I called him Wayner.
Wayner, Wayne the Brain, either way. Just one of the members of the trading floor here as we go back. What is next? NEO earnings. Well, that was interesting. Another stock that had one of those fake outs to the upside, Brendo.
All right, let's go on to another EV name, obviously NIO. We were discussing in the pre-market this morning coming off earnings. It was actually a pretty good report right across the board. Delivery numbers kind of in line on the forecast side, 23 to 25,000. Earnings per share were kind of in line to slightly higher, but overall, I mean, it turns out to be a tough trade once again today.
Yeah, you know, I think the market initially liked it, then digested it and didn't like it so much. Holding a little bit above flat now. The pitch here was we delivered 31,000, but now we're looking at 20 to 25,000 per quarter. Well, how come it's less? Why aren't we scaling up? So questions to be asked. I think the market's letting them hear that.
AHI is still halted here, guys. I was just double checking the time on that. The last volatility halt might have been longer than 5 minutes, but this crazy advanced health intelligence. What is the float? Did you guys end up finding?
Yeah, it's 100 and something million.
It's actually not that small. Yeah, 98 million shares I see there on the float for advanced health intelligence. AHI still having a day.
So no, I was just telling Max about NEO because at the open, it felt like there was a 1% probability that NEO was going to break $8 at the open because it had done this. Like, first of all, let me back up a second. This is the daily chart of NIO. What I think was kind of a mixed bag for earnings, right? Trending to the downside, can't get out of its own way. And then recently, you've had underneath the $8 level, you've had these wipeouts, 1 to 7 even, right back to 750, rejects at $8, wipe out again through 750, higher low 730, right back to $8. Then on earnings, you go right back and make another higher low in the pre-market, and it rejects $8 again in the pre-market. So I'll go back to the 3-minute chart here, and you were sliding off of 8 and consolidating at 770. So suffice to say, when looking at Carvana and Tesla and a couple of other things at the open, I didn't have my stop set for NEO at 8. I knew I liked the $8 break, but didn't really think that was going to happen. So we're looking at other names. Those are the focus level 2s. I saw it get there. I flipped to it, punched long for the default that was set at that window. It hung out there a while, but then I'm going back because I wanted Tesla. And I mean, NVIDIA was the other thing I was looking at the time because I thought NVIDIA was going to be a fade the pop situation. Never got it. It ended up being pretty solid with the exception of the back half of the trade. Sometimes you wish you could have it back. There was a reload that I didn't take off the pre-market high, so you could have got a reload here off of 815. That's an obvious miss, but the exits were all pretty good with the exception of the first couple. You know, holding out to the top, actually getting the 860, the wick high. Did not make a decision here. It doesn't matter what decision you make at 840, but I should be making a decision. Either I want out if this breaks down, or I should be thinking about adding here. I didn't really do anything with it, and then just ended up trailing out underneath like 820 there. And if I had decided, I would not that like it's all hindsight's 2020, but once it stopped out, it was actually a small trend short when it got to $8. It tried to hold 8 even, bounced up to 810, and then rejected it, then holds 8 to the downside. That's more of a scalp trade inside of 20 cents, but it's still a good scalp trade. Because if $8 is a level, when it shows you it rejects the bounce off 8, you could just be short it into 775, 780 there. 25 cents is nothing to sniff at, and you could have worked that one pretty much throughout lunchtime. So it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. Like that's the kind of trade on NIO where if you're only focused on NIO this morning, like it's all you really need if that's your main focus, because you could just be long, you could be adding. When it comes back in, you probably trail it out at 830 underneath VWAP. But yeah, another Chinese ADR that's probably not going to move now that it's after the afternoon.
And you get like a 9 or 10% move out of that. Like if you are really focused on NEO and you really want that trade today, and like the liquidity on that NEO book is extremely thick, so
Better
you can
than
take
Carvana.
a lot of shares if that's what you want. I took a look over to Li Auto because we were talking about if NEO starts going, does Li start going? And apparently not. It just kind of, I mean, it does a little bit of a spike here, but nothing substantial. End up down about 1% on the day on Li Auto. So yeah, nothing there. There was sympathy on XPEV. Did basically the exact same move as NEO, just a little bit more muted. But yeah, definitely opportunity there. I missed that trading the big boy EV player today, and I kind of wish I did have that 8 break on NEO, because those are the trades where it's very easy to execute, and you know, you're not going to make that much on it because I'm not going to take like a crazy amount of shares on that trade, although you could.
But it's just
like you just make that money, and it's
a high percentage win.
Yeah, it's just there.
It's a high percentage roll.
All right, let's go on to DocuSign here, another one we were touching on if you joined us pre-market. Right across the board, a number of positive analyst moves this morning on this name, coming off a better than expected report beating. They raised their full year forecast as well, which was key to that. But here we are, fast forward a few hours, and now negative 2.8%. If you go out to a weekly chart on this DocuSign, this is going to be a huge reversal candle if we close down here for DOCU.
Yeah, it's only up 5.5% year to date. It hasn't definitely moved with the S&P or any of its components. It's up 12. Look, the revenue was up 12% year over year. So if you're thinking this is a pandemic darling and its best days are behind it, it's still growing. It's just not at the rate that it was.
I want to actually show this now because I'm intrigued. I went and got a weekly chart as promised. Here we go. So yeah, turning into a pretty ugly wick at the top end on the weekly chart for DocuSign. After a nice pop this morning, we get this reversal, guys.
So I'll say but. If there's always a but somewhere, because that is an ugly, that's not a great looking wick on the weekly, and then nobody would call that bullish on the weekly. I mean, even on the daily chart, it doesn't look that great. But DocuSign, despite all that, it could be holding on to the 50 and the 200 period moving averages, and we've actually seen this in this earnings season. A couple of names have done this where it hasn't looked that good off the earnings. They actually give everything back, but then it consolidates. Everyone lulled to sleep, and then the market goes up again, and suddenly everyone remembers that DocuSign had good numbers. And 2 or 3 days later, after it settles down, it holds the low, and you can see it's got a lot of support at multiple levels between here and the 50 and 200, like 53.5, 55 up there. So there's lots of this support and chop around here. If it finds a bottom in the next couple of days, I guess that'll be next week, you can see this one getting back above 60. It's just take a wait-and-see approach. It was solid earnings, and this is still pretty much down a ton from recent highs. It's just no enthusiasm whatsoever, unfortunately, for DocuSign. Just to go back over just quickly, I no longer short Intel, like I mentioned. It bounced off VWAP. It is yet to break 3140. I got the quarters, got some out 30, 35, 40, 45, and 50 will be all targets because Intel tends to move like that. If it does get past 60, I think that opens up a little bit bigger of a gap to get to 32. I doubt that happens without some help by the market. Like if the market rolls over here off this lower high, Intel ain't getting to 32. But if the market gets back to the top, I could really see this one churning after it played some catch-up. It was a wipeout candle on volume when this took it down into 3070. So were it to pull a reversal and the market goes up, yeah, I want to scalp it to this range. But once it breaks this range, you've got to be thinking about a bigger move for Intel here. DocuSign, I don't think there's going to be much of a trade this afternoon. I don't know.
Yeah, I doubt there's much available on DocuSign today. I had that like 65 as the key resistance area, but I was thinking like just get out of a long or like potentially blast through that to the next level, and then that ends up being the absolute top on the day, and you get a crazy move down off it. That would have been nice sometimes to flip your, use the same levels that you have, but just the other direction. Sometimes
you got to start shorting every now and then. Apparently.
Yeah, maybe I need to program a short key on this keyboard.
But if you like, because here's the way I look at a short trade is if a stock gaps up on earnings, doesn't hold a gap, and then just opens lower, like it opens to the weak reaction to the buying up, and then it fails the top. Oh my! Because you look at the consolidations, that's 65, right? When it fails that top, there's a short in here somewhere to 65. Where that's the high, you're shorted off the high, like maybe it's a 64 break or something, and you know you have room to 59.
Yeah.
Oh man, because it's basically, it's the reverse of the dip buy in Tesla.
Exactly.
That's all it is, really. It's just, it's exactly the same thing.
All right, NVIDIA was next on the list. We were talking about this MediaTek arrangement that they announced, a new deal with this. They make those displays, digital displays for the auto industry. A minor note at best, but there was also in fact, multiple positive notes this morning suggesting the AI angle is only in its infancy, as we've heard over and over and over again. For NVIDIA, man, DocuSign does not want to stop. I was still watching it. Thoughts on NVIDIA?
I like the GPU in the vehicle. I think it's a new segment that's just burgeoning from this point. If anybody's seen these new EVs, whether it's from Mercedes, BMW, there's a plethora of screens involved. They're in the front, they're in the back. All this is going to require graphics processing, so I want to see what kind of mobile processing units they create for some of these vehicles, Brenda.
Yeah, it was more about AMD when all is said and done today, and a better day than NVIDIA, but ho-hum. Another day, another 1.5% here for NVIDIA, guys.
It's when you call 1.5% ho-hum, you know you're doing something right. NVIDIA is obviously doing something right, as it manages to withstand a lot of volatility at the top end of this range. But you've got to remember, it is still holding the gap from that monster earnings day, the one that I had to miss while I was chilling out, eating foie gras in Paris. Ooh. It was the first 3 meals I had. It was the same thing. I'm like, what do you want for a starter? I'm like, what do you think? We're in Paris. I want the foie. But NVIDIA,
a little pate, like cold foie gras pate with some.
Oh my goodness, it's so good. Anyways, let's not talk about delicious food right now. So obviously NVIDIA, like I said, it's held that range, but it's got 2 issues. One is the 400 level. The other is that 405. It's a 405, 406. That trill mark that everyone keeps looking at that it can't seem to get past. So I think we have an obvious area of interest now that it continues to make another defense of that 370, mid 370s. I love the fact that as weak as it was yesterday, when this was just churning to the downside and it felt like it was going to be another one of those days, the market bounced and NVIDIA bounced as strong as ever, stronger than some names actually. I want to see NVIDIA's bounce was stronger than like an AMD, 86 up into 90. It hasn't broken VWAP just yet, but now that you've held a pre-market support, if we get it back to the highs, I think you're going to want NVIDIA to be a part of it, maybe a 92 break if we get back to 14.7. If 14.7 goes, is NVIDIA really not going to get back to the high of the day?
Yeah.
So I like this notion of 392 at VWAP. If you can consolidate and break out from there, this market has to do its end of the bargain, obviously. Yeah, but a good hold at the low. I wasn't looking at, obviously Tesla was a bit of the attention grabber at some of those lows. And of course, I had Apple at the low for attention, but really NVIDIA at 385, it never even got there. And once it held that, look at how clean this is. That's 387, that's essentially 386, breaks back out at 387. If you were just focused on NVIDIA, that's like $1 worth of risk with $4 to VWAP. But I didn't really have it up because I was bearish on it this morning. And that's what happens if you're a little too biased and you don't reassess at any point.
Yeah, basically holding yesterday's close of that 385 and then blasting off back to VWAP. Yeah, I mean, that would have been a better trade than Tesla off the bottom. It probably would have been less competitive, much easier, and you just kind of float back up $6 or whatever that is. Yeah, that 395 short. I didn't look at my, I didn't look at my 5-second chart to see if this break was like super clean back down to the downside, but I mean, we liked the idea of 395 short, and yes, it does go, you know, $2-ish, but that's kind of how I like to trade NVIDIA these days anyway. Now that we're up at $400, just trade in like $2.50 kind of increments. So you could have definitely still structured a short off that 395, maybe back through, or maybe, you know, you're taking some kind of lower high here off that 396, looking for this retracement move. So I feel like NVIDIA gave you everything today, gave you everything that you needed, you know, good high risk to reward plays. And yeah, now just basically, what's the open price? 930.30, and we're at 930.80. So basically does the whole move up, the whole move down, and then back to the middle for NVIDIA. So we'll see which way the market makers decide to push this one to the end of the day. I mean, I feel like up on a Friday, but we'll see. We'll see.
Come on, Brad. Let's. I wish everyone could hear Brad, honestly.
I know.
His ongoing commentary. Carvana, back to the upside right now, but still it's been in this downward trend all day long. Last one on the list there, after what happened yesterday, we were expecting fireworks. I think a lot of people were expecting fireworks again today, but turns out to not be the case, unfortunately.
No, down 19%, but at a critical level. If we can come to the chart here, Bradley, this is the bull flag that it formed off the news yesterday at 8 p.m., and we're right back there. So do we find a bottom at these 19, 20 levels here? A lot of action, a lot of volume took place at this price right here, Brendo.
Guess what? AHI is halted again, if anyone was wondering. Just popped up on my screen. Anyways, yeah, measly 767% now for AHI, guys.
Forget about Carvana. Like the way I feel about Carvana, if at the open I was focused on Neo 8 instead of Carvana, then it would have been like, that's a day changer. And quite frankly, looking at the chart of AHI, I think I made a comment somewhere around here that, well, you got to wait for this thing to stop halting and settle down and set you up with a consolidation long. That said, you probably lose on the first one, and the question is, do you go at it the second time? So if I had been focused on this, I'd be in this trade here at 175, and I can't see any way that I wouldn't have been stopped out, because I'd probably give it 10%. Like it gives you the consolidation somewhere in here, 75 to 80. And then it stops out probably underneath 160. I don't think I'd be able to hold it all the way. But it then comes right back, gives you the same level, breaks it out at 70. That's a trade. Maybe you have to put up, you're not really even putting up that much, because if you just give it that consolidation there, it's halting on the way up, it was halting every 20 pennies. So you're not really risking more than 20 cents anyways on a 170 break, and now it's to the moon. The last halt was to the downside, rejecting 3. Current indicated open is 269 when it halted at 269. So that's AHI. It'll be open in a couple of minutes. My story on Carvana was effectively 2 trades. The first one I tried to break out at the open. It didn't really give the look that we wanted at the open. I wanted at the open, which would have been like the nice dip buy instantly, and then grab that sort of dip trade. Take the break to the upside, hold through the high of the day, never happened. I waited for the consolidation, tried the breakout, didn't scalp it, out. Then tried the long in our supply zone, is what we were talking about, where Max was sitting in it not all day, but it was most of the afternoon. It felt like more. It was an hour and a half you were in this trade. And then it went to 22 to 26. So that was the supply zone that I wanted to be working into. I got in. I then made the colossal mistake sometimes of, well, my stop was at 2150 and I had a 22 long. It then tested 2150 one last time, bounced. I'm like, well, that's an ad. So I just added anyways because I'm already in the trade. I'm like, let's just add because it held the stop. And then it proceeded to stop me out like 10 minutes later. So, and it should have been a short at that point. Not a bad short entry, I suppose.
Yeah, good short off $20 there too. I tried to go long off of $20 twice and ended up actually kind of getting smoked on that.
What?
But, you know, I'm still up on Carvana on the day, thankfully. In my mind, Carvana's a long over $17 here. This was the major resistance recently. So until we give that up, I'm not calling this move done necessarily, but down 20% today. Not the greatest look, and especially giving up that $20 and that $21.50 that it did consolidate at yesterday. I tried that 22 long as well. It did end up, like, it worked for 50 cents, but, well, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're just scalping Carvana long today, you're probably making a decent amount of money. Like, in this zone right here, I had a good amount of shares and was up quite a bit of money on it and ended up trail stopping it back to break even, which was maybe not that smart. And like here, you know, you could have put on size and gotten that 50-cent move. Same thing with a lot of levels here. So yeah, like that 21 gives you that move back up too. So maybe Carvana's just a scalp play until we start breaking out again. I'll be looking on Monday for this to be holding that 17 level or holding 20, holding a key level. And you know, I'll give Carvana a few shots on Monday. I still believe in the short interest, but definitely the pedal is not
To the metal?
What's that? The foot?
The foot's off the gas pedal?
Foot's off the gas of the shorts? The foot's off the neck? I don't know what I'm trying to say, but the shorts have caught a breather today.
I don't know what you're trying to say, but I understand exactly what you mean, Max.
The shorts have caught a breather today. They have been able to cover if they have to. So, yeah, maybe it is over. I don't know.
Well, I think I like your point about the 17 level. I completely agree with that. Like, if you break out from a zone, then you can never call it dead until it gives that up.
Yeah.
That's true on a big cap, small cap, like, you know, it doesn't matter. Like, it's like when NVIDIA gaps up. It's not over until it takes out that flat bottom and gives it up.
Exactly.
It hasn't happened yet on Carvana. It could happen. I guess we're done the rundown now as the market starts to roll over, and I'm only in Apple and Intel. So alongside, both holding VWAP, but maybe not a bad place to think about getting some out. I'm looking at Amazon here because that was in that tight consolidation off VWAP. It broke down, looked like it was heading down, then tried to get back above VWAP and failed it again. So this looks like if the market rolls over, the short, I mean, the short was probably above VWAP. That's for the money fills. But you can get in at like 30s into like 60. Average price, if you get the 40 level, you're risking 20 cents, right? On Amazon with $1 to the low of the day. So I like that setup. It looks like it's relatively weak. If the market rolls over, this makes some sense to me. I'm going to get on the offer out in front of VWAP, and we'll see. Like, this is maybe not the only short opportunity out there, but it's the one that I see in front of me. And as I mentioned on Intel, hit enter twice. Yeah, that's starting to roll over off VWAP itself. This was actually a cover of a short. So like there was a big volume explosion on the AWS thing, and that kind of ran my trailing stop because I was short from the morning, and then there was a bit of an ad here in front of VWAP, and then I kind of trailed out there, 31.30. But then I got back in at 31.25 into the long side of the trade. It just doesn't seem like it wants to go all that far. Maybe a little too heavy-handed trying to get out in front of 31.60. But if the market rolls over, this is probably busting right back down.
Yeah, I'm looking at NVIDIA actually. It's right at this 390 price, which the open today, 390.37. So I'm wondering if we want to hold 390 here. This VWAP is not correct because my P Pro is not updated on this computer, sadly. But yeah, where is VWAP? Approximately 390, 175. So yeah, I'm wondering, like, do we hold this 390 level back up and then get back to VWAP if the market wants to bounce? I mean, you know, NQ kind of looking like it wants to bounce here. This 14,575 has been kind of like a over-under level today. So I don't know, if NQ wants to bounce, do I want to be long NVIDIA? I think so. I think, you know, the fact that it's sitting kind of at its opening price, we could get another move up if the NQ decides to rally. So I think you know, if I see a bid above 390 on NVIDIA, I'll just be watching. I'm going to take that long and try to get it back into like 393, something like that. And
Guess
AMD
what's halted
also,
again?
Oh, no way.
It is. AHI's halted up now. Halt down, halt up. This is just, we'll keep covering. I know a lot of people are looking at it here in the chat. So 312, 311, current indicated open price halted at 297. I couldn't even tell you where this one is going to go at this point. It's just tiny float, probably soaked up. It's done 100 million in, is that 100 million in volume?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so like obviously multiple times the flow, which we said was 60, or
13 million.
13 million float.
Yeah.
So
Almost
it's done,
14.
Okay, so it's done 7.5 times already, and we still have 90 minutes to go. So, yeah, this one's churning through. Clearly, it's soaked up, and the shorts are probably crying right now, if to the extent that there are any. Just open back up here. There's a wall at 320. It just chewed through that like it was. Yeah, that just basically said to like 70,000. It was more than that. It was actually probably a few 100,000 shares. It said we don't care. Filled to 320, and is now going to halt up at 326. So it is halt to halt here. So unless you're making that play where you're just taking it from one halt into the next.
347 tap.
Yeah, it's just insane. To the moon, this one. Is anyone long this thing?
That sounds like Eric's.
I think somebody around here, like the only person you can hear on the floor very clearly is the person
Also,
that's
the only
long it.
person that you would expect to be long this stock.
Well, there's actually, I would say, the only two people, because I'd expect you to be long it at 160 or 170.
Yeah, that's how I would play it. I'd
like
still
down
be
there.
long from down there somewhere, but I actually do like this setup where that halt down happens at 270, and then we open here at 280. So I'm not saying take the opening price after the halt if it looks like it's going to open up, but like if it does open up and it does hold that halt price on the bid, I mean, that's, you got to imagine that lots of people punched into this halt trying to get short, and now they're kind of screwed over this halt price. So
you know how you can structure that? Because like if you have the tap and you can see where it's potentially opening,
you could
with
mark it on open.
with about 20 seconds to open, but you could limit on open.
oh, I like that.
Right? So what you could do is if you see that it halts down at 270, once you realize within 10 seconds of the reopen, it's going to open to the upside, just go limit. Now, the problem is if you go limit by, say, 285, right?
Yeah.
And then you're going to have, because you know you're going to get the fill if it's there, you set your stop. Once it opens, you get the fill underneath 70, so you're just hitting enter. The problem with that is if in the last couple of seconds it reverses from printing up to printing down, you're long.
Yeah.
So if it does end up at the last second, someone jams a big sell order, you're long at 250 or something at the reopen, and then it just quadooks. So there is a trade there. It's just incredibly risky in that situation.
I suspect watching for sure.
And there's a lot of trails in this.
Yeah.
Lots of people are trailing the stock right now.
Yeah, that's true. Like people would be now trailing that 270 price. So if we do break that now, you know, that's probably a decent halt down with probably a decent open down. But yeah, this one not stopping yet. 340 indicated open. I mean, where can we go? Let's take a look at the daily just for fun. Not really loading. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up.
DC load. I just go to my trade ideas.
Okay, so like this $4 level, you know, we're kind of getting into like that 340, 350 level is kind of interesting on this. Like that's where this consolidation is. So maybe it gives it up here, but if it doesn't, that like $4 to $5 level, Brad thinks it's a short.
Brad's like, it's a short.
Then it's definitely a long.
Not at 4. Like looking at that daily chart, let it get to 5 at least. It's so wild and it's too crazy. It's actually 14 cents a share for us to short, which I guess if it gets to 5 isn't that bad.
That's still a lot.
It is still a lot when you consider the spread, right? And then underneath $4, underneath $3, or at $3, that's a lot. It's 5% plus the slippage, and you only if you don't use it, you're paying it outright. So that's not that easy.
And there might be edge there where like, if it doesn't make a decent move down, like a 50-cent move down, and it stops, then all these people who are looking for like that outsized move to pay for their shorts and then pay for the spread and pay for all these fees,
they don't get it.
They don't get it, so they have to cover.
Yeah, you want, to me, when you short one of those, you want it to be like, this has gone so far today that everybody's happy. The longs are like, yeah, we can take it out now. Like that to me, that's when it goes to 5. That's when if it fails 5, if it fails 10, those are the types of levels that you start thinking about there. I want to get to Roku very quickly because Roku is at the $70 level right now. Not that in and of itself that means anything, $70. There's no size on the bid, but it just broke down. This is on a decent win streak. I wanted to give it an adjective, but it's on a very good win streak from $60 into $70, kind of failing that top end at previous resistance. So that's the lay of the land. The other side of this is look at the reversal, what that looks like on the 15-minute. Now, I would suspect maybe it gaps up until this thing fails 68. You got to figure the uptrend is still good, but it can still be a short off of this 70 and 71 area. First things first, is it bouncing off 70? If that's the case, I think maybe a short off of 71 here gives you some cover. As I just said, like 68 is probably the line in the sand. If we see that at like 330 or 340, like right at the end of the day, there could be like a late level bounce there on Roku. I wouldn't be trying to catch a falling knife here at these prices though. So Roku, good look. Definitely one that can work. Racer X9, well in the money, record day here. I'm going to assume you got that AHI, which we were just talking about. I'm curious because anyone that's in this one, let us know in the chat. Because if I had actually put this trade on, there's almost no chance I'd still be in it because the way it rejects 3, I'm like, no, I'm getting out. Like that's just how I would roll. So I probably would have been out here, and then I'd make the bottom wick, and then it goes higher. It opened back up here and is halting down at 290. So it opens right into a down halt, failing $3. That's the thing. The Prad's now like, go short. You got to go short. It's not that simple. He's like, I told you short. Well, if you took the open trade at 305, you're putting up the high there is 326. That's 21 cents. If you get it perfect, that's 21 cents worth of risk plus the 14 you paid. That's 35 pennies plus slippage. So let's call it 40 to 50 cents worth of risk. 1-to-1, it has to go here. And you have to get all of it out. I'm just saying. If it goes to VWAP, then obviously no matter what you do, that's a great short. I'm now kind of talking to Prad here. I'm just saying it's not always that simple. It's a lot easier, and this will be self-deprecating to a certain extent because I'm not going to show you one that absolutely worked. But I did have Blue Apron, and that was going parabolic. It's not that simple. It went up to like almost $10, got to $9.70. I had to short. I added. It then ran the lower high stop. I wicked out. I jumped right back in. It got to VWAP. It didn't follow through. It then wicked me the heck out again. It was a really tricky trade because the spread was opened up at times on this. You didn't know where you're going to get, so you're constantly tightening stops, and you don't want to get slipped. And quite frankly, it ended up being good. Like it would have been good if you just really, really stuck with it. But at any time, it could have ran the stops. You get slipped, don't get out, and you're halted to the upside. And this had gone from $5 to $9.50. Like who knows? So you got to understand risk to reward, and is it worth it to pile into a big position and not have tight stops? To each their own is all I got to say.
I just got long Tesla here, but I don't know if I'm loving it anymore. I just took 2 fills. If we give up this low that we just made at 39, I think it was, 244.40, then I'll be out, but looks like the buy-in's coming in, so let's get back above 245. I thought I had missed my chance on it and then ended up paying up a little bit too much probably at 245, but luckily that was just a starter, so now we're in 80s, so decent price on it, looking for the move back to that like 246, 246 and a half, which I mean, if I did a volume profile on the day, I think 246 and a half is probably the point of control on the day. There's been a ton of volume done there. Maybe I should just do that right now.
I like the POC. That's one thing I want them to add to P Pro 8.
Yeah.
It's a good, I think way back in the day we did a video on it. Like way back in the day we did a video on that. It might still be on YouTube, but it's a good tool. You have it on TradingView, I'm assuming there.
On Webull.
That's Webull. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have it. It's actually pretty cool. So people are 248.30. Someone just put 248.30. I'm assuming you looked up the point of control, and it is 248.30 on Tesla. And then you're answering our question for us. Thank you for being the greatest community ever. Yeah. Sometimes I wonder, it's like, why do we even bother checking it or looking for what's the short float on this, and I have to go look for it? We can just ask you guys, and you'll tell us.
It shows up in the chat right away.
It shows up right away. So 248.30 is what they're saying.
All right, so that's the target on this 244 long. I don't know. I'm looking for like 246.50, which I think has been like a breakout, breakdown kind of level here. Again, not trying to lose more than whatever that is, like 40, 50 cents on this trade, but looking for like $2 rewards, so 4 to 1. That's how we like them. We'll see how it interacts with 245 here, looking for it to catch a bid above. I mean, 245 was a great breakout earlier. I mean, like this 244.75 was kind of resistance too. So there's a lot of things supporting Tesla right now. Not any moving averages though. So we're kind of trying to buy an aggressive dip here, trying to consider a NASDAQ bounce off this like 14,575 that we were talking about. So see what happens here on Tesla. I'm not so in love with it, but you know, we're in it now. So you know, I'm not going to punch out just yet.
It's impossible to be in love with every trade.
Yeah.
Like there's always, like there's going to be, you're not going to be in only A+ setups. That's quite frankly the truth. Otherwise, like nobody trades that little. That's the only way to think about it. Like they're patient traders, but there's nobody that's, it's almost impossible because like it'll be a B and it's like, well, you should still be putting it on. It's just consider tighter stops, lower size, all that kind of good stuff. I'm going to get to Apple in a second because I've been focused on Intel and I wanted the Amazon short, which hasn't really set up just yet. I'm going to cancel this. I don't really need a bid on Apple. I did get stopped out the first time with this long and then just kind of jumped right back into it. Got to VWAP, got to 182. That's 181.5 and 182, kind of obvious. But if it holds VWAP, I am looking for a dip buy here in Apple. It did try to get the top and wick the top. That's not a great sign. But then it bounced off VWAP the first time. If it can do so at a higher low and the market wants to go, well, this is a strong name. It's got room. If you look at the trend, that's a great trend on the daily. The other side of it is past 182. It's not a huge gap up to that 85 that got failed, but it's a decent amount of room for us to get, like 83, 84. You're going to need, as always, you're going to need the market to do some heavy lifting as well, because this is one of those Fridays where I have a little sideways action. I'd like to think that maybe you can make that push into that 182 break. If we get VWAP, I'll try to add back into this. That would be a name I think is bullish, but I still want to believe in Amazon short. I never got it. I'm still offering, trying to catch something in here closer to VWAP, but it's starting to roll over. I don't know that I want to chase it all that much, but sometimes you just have to wet the old beak. As I like to say, it's breaking 124 now. So I'll probably just try to get some underneath 124. I'll be adding on the way to VWAP, so maybe just take a half in here and then wait for the other half at VWAP. And of course, you have to actually get a fill, so I'll be waiting here in front of 124.
I'm stopped out now on the Tesla. Sad. Maybe it holds. Maybe 244. I think it has to get back to like 243. This is where it really held before to try another long on Tesla. But you know, if this wants to trend down into the close, definitely going to lose a lot of money trying to step in front of it. So don't want to be too aggressive there. Carvana just made a double bottom at 19, which hopefully a certain somebody in the back is using one of his strategies on this. I won't say what it is or who it is, but congrats to him if he used that off of 19 and is well in the money on this one. Although the volume's kind of dead, so maybe that's maybe it's over on Carvana right now. But does have a double bottom for now. Back over 20 looks pretty strong. It's just been kind of holding the 50 period to the downside ever since it broke down that 22 or 2150 kind of level. But yeah, if we get a double bottom here and it holds, like Carvana can really go anywhere as we have seen in the past. So could be a good look here for Carvana. Obviously SSR, so harder for the shorts to push this one down. You need like natural selling to hit the bid.
Right, SSR.
Exactly, exactly. So you can get like those, 20% down today. You get those crazy kind of pops.
A couple of things. Update. AHI is not open because clearly it's a 10-minute halt. So if a stock doesn't open in 5 minutes, it's halted, and it is a volatility halt, which this one is, then you know it's pretty much 10 minutes, or they're playing games. And by they, I mean whoever it is that decides these things, like when they hold funware for an hour. And then don't let it open back up. I will always say that. Brad chuckles because I crap on that every single time I see it. It was a crappy situation because like a lot of people missed out on some profits or lost some money when funware, for whatever reason, got halted for an hour, and there should have been opportunities to get out while DWAC was tanking. So TLO Enterprises, crap, I missed you all getting to 400K today. Congrats on this achievement. The team is done. It's a testament to what you have all built. It's a testament, thank you very much, first of all, but it's a testament to the support that we have from all of you. That's why we're at 400,000 subscribers. That's why we enjoy doing this every single day. So in that note, I'm going to hit this one.
Hola, like and subscribe today.
So you guys, okay, I'm chuckling because as that gets played, this was, Katrine was like she was cringing. I think everybody loves it, Katrine. You have a great voice. What are you talking about? So Katrine's saying she doesn't like how her voice sounds. I mean, come on. You guys all absolutely love the Ola. It's like the greatest graphic that we have, I think. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
Carvana broke that 19 level, and lots of selling coming in. Someone was chasing it down with 500 lots, so 50,000 shares.
What?
Got to assume trying to get short.
Should be short this apparently at some point.
Yeah, like that 20 level kind of
late
gave
now.
you that awesome short there where it just comes back through by like 5 cents and then all the way down. And
You know
then
what
gives it
it
to you a
is.
second time. So nice it gives it to you twice.
17 long.
The 17 long today?
At this rate,
Yeah.
there is an hour left, and since it broke 22 at 1:15. Sorry, it gave up 22 at 1:15. It is now only 3 o'clock or just under 3 o'clock, and it's breaking 19. The notion that it could get back to the 17 break, that's not impossible. The way I see it, if you're not at least expecting it, then you won't be prepared to make a decision off that level. So I'm going to make sure I have at least it on the back burner somewhere, like one of my screens, one of my level 2s, because if we get down to 17 even and show any kind of a bid there has to at least be a scalp trade off of 17, I would think.
For sure.
Is it really going to give everything back without some kind of a bounce? Like the best bounce, as you just said, the best bounce all day has been the early one where you could have been scalping at $1.50, and the last one at 19 bucks.
Yeah.
And that's $1. So even if that's all you got off a 17 bounce, that's not that bad, especially in a power hour. Like $1 move on a $17 stock in power hour, you've got to be happy with that if you can get it. So I'm going to be looking for that 17 level on the way back in. Of course, Amazon's starting to go against me. I do want to add, but I don't want to get too stubborn. Kind of Apple, I hate you, Apple. No, I actually like you, Apple. I just would have been nicer if I could have got some shares down at VWAP. It's holding a higher low. Might just need to find a way into this off the higher low here. But I feel that's a little bit aggressive. But I'll probably wet the old beak somewhere in here. I like this one on the long side. Outside of Amazon, or if you're in a trending stock to the downside that you're holding on to, I kind of feel we could still be putting in a higher low. Everyone likes to look at the 50 period. The NASDAQ's actually holding above that. That's why I want to look for some longs. Intel, Apple, that's about it. That's about all I got for the long ideas that are obvious.
Yeah, I got long Tesla again over 245, so we'll see what happens on this one. I mean, this is kind of the bottoming action that you want to see. I don't love my price here. I think, getting back in through 244.50 instead of getting in at this 245 is probably a better way to do it, but, less shares when you're at a riskier spot. But yeah, looking for the same move, looking for this to get back into 246.50. Looking good right now, ton of buying into the level. We just got to get through this 245.50, which was a bit of a problem before, and then see where this goes. Once again, not going to let this go too far against me. I am fighting the trend here on Tesla, though. We did make a bottom here, and if this is a higher low, then we are now in an uptrend. And if you were to zoom out to the 30-minute chart, this is a long-term uptrend on Tesla. So, we're not fighting the long-term trend here, just fighting the short-term sell-off that we've had from that crazy 250 high. Do I think we're getting back to 250 today? Not in the next hour, no. But,
Probably not, but
anything is possible. We have seen Tesla move $5 in an hour many times before. And hopefully I'll have some size on if we do get there. But probably not more than 10% of the position.
If it finds its way to that far up on a Friday, I got to figure by then it's like, it's probably some profit taking. It'd be hard pressing now with an hour to go underneath 250. you got to figure that there would be a ton of resistance on the way. I'm just going to get this out of the way here that Prad's probably going to be doing some victory laps over there. Yeah, well, AHI is a short.
Oh, baby.
Okay, you guys probably even heard him just yell it out there. Anyways, well, I was preaching caution and how you have to set it up. In fairness, I was saying it had to get to here to at least be worth it. It's halted down 246 with a 228 indicated open. So yeah, it would have worked out if you had taken the reopen. You probably get something like a 3 entry short, or maybe at worst you get a 290 at the bottom, somewhere in there. And that's a short that works out for you. Just remember, I'm sure other shorts looked just as good around here that did not work out. I'm just going to throw that one out there. So you have to consider what would work 10 times out of 10. No, you know what? It's not a bad setup. I think 14 cents a share it's a little bit higher on the pricey side for that setup because you are giving it 10% to the high of the day already, and then you have to put up another 14 cents, which is another 5%. That's a 15% worth of risk without any slippage. That's if you're getting the fills exactly where you want them. So that's a little bit tricky. No way Messi stock is doing a move. Oh, Mogul making moves high of the day. Thank you very much, Nicholas Hughes, for mentioning Moguls at the high of the day. Do remember the weekly high, the high on the week, not really the weekly high, the high on the week is underneath that $3 level, but it is on a churn. Here's something that's going. It's got not that bad a spread, $12 million in volume as well. So let's see if this one has any juice through yesterday's high. That could be spicy. Like if it breaks 270, you've got some room for it to get to that $3 level. Ideally, I always want to play the dip buy if I have missed the move, because clearly it's already made the move up here. But if that 270 level break can hold the previous high, which is 55, then I'd like the entry off the 50 to 55 area. So Mogul now. Why did I think Meagle? Like, why did that come into my brain?
That was a stock.
That was
Meagle is a stock.
Meagle is a meme stock.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not making that up. There's a reason why I just made that.
Magic Empire or whatever, one of those Chinese crazy ones.
That is it. It's
Kong.
Magic Empire.
Yeah.
Magic Empire. MEGL.
Yes, I remember all of the crazy ones.
No, they're not having a good day.
This Tesla's struggling with 245.30, but I think if we blast off from there, we're kind of holding the teal now. So we'll see if we can get back up to the red line here, the 50 period. And where's VWAP on Tesla? 247.50. I think that's the ultimate out on Tesla. If this trade works for me, 247.50. As we get into the 50s, here we go, starting to pump. I love watching Tesla tape when it goes up. It is so exciting.
It just levitates up.
It just goes. There's just so much green everywhere. It's very entertaining. All right, so now we're 75 cents in the money. It's amazing how fast that happens when you're in a good trade on Tesla, and it's amazing how fast that evaporates when you're in a bad one. But yeah, we'll see where this goes. Hopefully we can get through this 50 period into 246. I'll be taking some profit right now, and that was like 20%, and then looking for like up here, 247 for the next trades. You know, afternoon, just ringing the register as Neil just did for me there. You know, you don't need the absolute bangers in the afternoon. You just want to pad the stats going into power hour. We're not even at power hour yet, so waiting for that power hour volume to send this one back to VWAP. Looking nice right now. What
else is? I mean, CVNA is on the back burner. I guess it could happen that it gets down to 17. That's kind of like when I said that, that's a low probability scenario that you actually see 17, but if it does happen, I do want to be ready for it. MGOL. Yeah, I know, whatever, man. I'm going to get it wrong every now and then. MGOL just touched that 270, so when you zoom out, that's what I was getting at, like that kind of local high from yesterday. Just pulling back now. It actually held 255. Not a lot of size on the bid here. There's an offer now at 70 even, but there's buyers in the mid 60s, enough that I kind of want to wet the beak under here. Now it's just going to take 70 outright again. Oh goodness, so much for the dip buy. I'm not even going to get 70. I'm not even going to get 60s. I don't think. I'm going to try and get something in front of 60s. If I get 50s, that's even better. Give me a fill. Give me a fill. Really? Bueller. Okay, that's what happens when you try to get 65. So let's see if we can't step up at least to 66 or 67 and catch a fill. If it breaks out from the high of the day, I think $33 is at least a level that you got to be concerned with, but risk to reward, it can still set up. Once you're above 70, it gets a little bit tight to said top. And of course, as I say it, there we go. We just complained about it. I just got to fill at 66. If it gets underneath that recent low, that's 253. I would definitely give it up there. That's a structure. Take the consolidation, not the absolute top. If I get a chance to add off a bounce, I'll go for that. It could always consolidate as well. But let me get a stop order in there for this name, and then we can worry about something else, which is probably going to be Amazon. That short is going absolutely nowhere right now. Not going up, not going down. So if Tesla is the race car going all over the place, this is basically, I don't even know what adjective to use. Like, give me a break. I thought it was relatively weak, but I guess it needs the market to make a move here. This is kind of frustrating. I thought it would either give me more fills up here or start rolling over when the market came back.
Yeah, Tesla's testing my might here. Just broke back below 245, but then rips right back up into the 20s, so still looking good on this one. Did not get to my stop yet, but, we probably get there soon. Yeah, that rollover off the 50 period maybe doesn't look so great on Tesla. Maybe we don't have the juice to get back to VWAP today. Would have thought there would be buyers after making all these higher lows, but probably going to get stopped out in a second here on Tesla. NVIDIA's at an interesting spot. I am out of Tesla now. Where's NVIDIA? That 387.50 I've had kind of on my chart as a level for a while now, 387.50 to 388. So that's kind of where it's turning around off of right now. But, NASDAQ caught a bit of a bounce in the last 10 minutes, and NVIDIA has been just basically doing nothing. So I don't know. You always think is this a lagger or is this relatively weak?
Yeah.
I don't want to be going long the weak name here if the NASDAQ's going to make a bounce. I want to be going long, stronger names. So I think I'll stay away from NVIDIA. AMD holding below that 125.
Apple's not pulling back, but
Apple is straight up.
I can't get back. I'm not getting back into it. That's the problem. I already scalped out of it. I'm just holding on to the last piece, and I keep trying to get. I tried to get VWAP. I tried to get 180, 180. It just goes up another 20 pennies. It hasn't broken past that high without wicking the top. So it might end up like a breakout trade or something like that. And yeah, that Mogul, MGOL, it's MGO. So I don't know that it's any of those things. MGO. It's not Mogul, it's MGO. So I'm just gonna call it MGO or MGOL from now on. I got to 66, it didn't pay up to 70, but I still paid up. It can't seem to hold, well, it hasn't broken yet, but it doesn't seem like it wants to hold that bottom. Unless it makes a bounce, there's no point getting in anymore. I don't have to take a second entry. I left room to, but I don't actually have to do that. It could just immediately flush, and then I give up the 15 cents here. I think it had room to $3, so 2 to 1 I could have gotten just by getting that breakout, but I'm not going to add to this position if it's going to be a fail break. Amazon's the one short we have. I have to watch out for Intel here. The market's not doing much, so I want to give this one a chance, but it is just, it's just sliding down. The good news is, if you look at what the market, it's basically the same chart as the NASDAQ, right? You're pulling back off the high, you're giving a consolidation. So if the market makes a fresh high, I think I'm in the right name. It just needs the market to go. You could see one of those lazy Fridays where you get an inside range, and then the right answer would have been to just be happy with 15 to 20 cents on Intel. But I still feel like there's a chance for more, especially to the upside, if we can really get going. There's another one.
Yeah, the chat was going crazy about Grom. I remember this name. I think it was trading at like $4 when I was trading it, but currently at 50 cents, going a little bit wild. I'm not seeing any news on this, but definitely making its way up 50% on the day. There's not enough volume for me to trade it, and as I started talking about it, some volume comes in, so I wonder if people in the chat are punching into this thing, but yeah, I want to see volume at like 75 million for something like this to be...
Another one. Another one. Another one.
I want to see a lot more volume to have some security in trading one of these names, so I'm not going to be punching into this one, but congrats if you're long anywhere below 50 cents here. This looks like it's going to make that move. If it gets to $1 today, I'll take that breakout.
Is DWAC really moving, or am I just getting baited into looking it up? No, I just saw in the chat DWAC is moving. Oh, that's not much of a move, That's not a DWAC move. Like DWAC's only down 1%. This stock has gotten about as boring as is even possible. Like it just doesn't even, yeah. So I would say wake me up when it makes a real move, like when it breaks a previous level, then you look for the short, because it's pretty good. Like every time it's gone up, you guys see the spikes. I mean, every single spike going back into like January on the year, if it does a monster move up, it is a fade. And there hasn't been a single one of those fades that's burned you. Not once. Not once have you, well, I mean, if you have a tight stop rate, it's in general, if you held on to it, you would have been fine. It had a light spike this morning and didn't go. You can play either direction, though. Like, I'm not saying it can only be shorted. Like, you can go long the stock, too. Amazon, no fills above VWAP. Oh, thank you, Mogul. What am I supposed to hate Messi now? Slap to fail on that trade. Not on Amazon, just I was showing you guys Amazon when this happened on Mogul, but I didn't add to it. I would have added if it had held around that 55 level. It did not, so no add to that position. Had a chance to go. When you zoom out, it felt like that was kind of worth it, because then you can take some out in front of 3. Then I'm not worried about a 3 break because I'm already in it when it's breaking 3, and hopefully I can find a place to add that's a more reasonable price. But doesn't end up working out. So thank you very much, MGOL and Mr. Messi. Apparently 55 is a big level on Grom, as you can see there on your chart.
Let's take a look here. On
what does the daily
chart.
say?
Yeah.
Oh,
I can see that. Well, 60. It looks like 60 is kind of the level, but yeah, maybe 55 area into 60. You know, it's hard to decide exactly, but yeah, 56 to 60, kind of a key area there for Grom. Maybe a potential breakout, who knows? But yeah, again, like I need to see these things really doing a lot of volume when they're below $1, or else I get pretty scared about the potential consequences. You know, like what was that one, TRKA, I think it was a couple months ago, which like I crushed that. That was great. It was like, I think 55-cent breakout went to 75 cents or something. But the size was like 1,000 lots, 5,000 lots everywhere on this level too. This one, you got like 20. So this is like 5,000 shares is the biggest offer that you can see on this name.
Oh, and that's a full cent from the offer.
Yeah, so like
that's 2% from the current offer is where there's actual size.
Exactly. So like, you know, if you get offside on one of these, if you're trying to actually make money, you need to take a lot of shares to make money off of a 2-cent or 3-cent move. And, you know, you might get kind of smoked if it goes the wrong way. Tesla did just die.
That's why Sundial was good, because when Sundial was in play as a penny stock, like there was liquidity everywhere. Like you couldn't, like there was never a price that was breaking that you weren't able to get in and out exactly where you wanted. You might lose on some trades, but you were never getting slipped so badly that it was changing the nature of your trade. That's what you want out of a penny stock. You want there to be liquidity on the stock. That's why when we see one of these runners and it's got a spread on it, like why would a stock that cheap have a spread as wide as Tesla? Like,
yeah,
you don't want to trade that because it doesn't make any sense.
It looks good on a chart, but like
no, that's true. It looks
you know, you have to have other criteria. You know, if you want to be a day trader as a profession, you know, you need to really dial in exactly what you need to see out of a stock in order to take a trade on it. I mean, you
keep elbowing our bull. That's why the market's going down, by the way.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, market. We're still up, though. We are still up.
I mean, barely
on NASDAQ.
Are we though? I just saw in the chat Carvana's on the move, resistance at whatever, Sword of Spirit saying CVNA's on the move. I just got my wick bottom reload on Apple and are immediately questioning how much I like the long. We'll see. I mean, if it holds VWAP, it can be okay here, but I have my price is 181.60 because I still had some residual shares from underneath. So I guess I can probably just stop underneath the 50 level and see if this one bounces back into the highs. 182 has been a problem for this name. I will check CVNA. It's not really going. It's kind of going. It's trying to go, but it's not really going. It's still trend down. If it doesn't get to 17, it probably at least has to break 20. Before it gets really, really interesting. Amazon just broke the 60s. I'm here at, 70s. I'm just here in the 60s to get the first leg out. If it does make the bottom, this is the bottom. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 times we've tested down 123 mids. So, you know, we probably can catch a bid down here, especially if the market stays with an inside day. Like if we don't break this malaise that we're in, and we hang out in this 50, 60 handle range, then Amazon's probably not breaking the low. Yeah, so if that happens, you want to make sure you're getting something out inside of the middle. It's one of those situations where I don't think necessarily this market wants to have we're breaking the lows and flushing lower, or we're breaking the highs and going to the moon. Yeah. It doesn't feel like that kind of a Friday here, especially after the volatility we had yesterday. For it to be this much inside, I feel like we'd have been doing that already.
I think the market makers got exactly what they wanted today.
That's fair. It's
they
Friday.
Didn't want us to blast off and get those call squeezes or dump and have to sell for the puts or anything. So yeah, it looks like we're going to get that inside day that makes things not so exciting for us, but very profitable for the market makers. As Tesla does come down to that 243 now. So 243 was the price that really did hold earlier. I'm wondering if I can try kind of the same execution strategy on 243 if it gets down there, let it get back into the 70s and then take it back through. Obviously, volume kind of getting lighter and lighter as we move into the close here. But I don't know. We're still up quite a bit on Tesla and holding the gap. So I don't know. I'm trying to convince myself one way or the other what to do here. I think I can take it because the risk to reward is just so good. If I do get that 40-cent risk to $2 reward scenario,
I got an option C situation for you.
Yeah.
Option C would be if there's no trade available,
don't take it.
Don't take it. Your style of trade. Everyone that's seen Max trade, you've been on here long enough, right? The shots that you're looking to make tend to be bigger in terms of how much you're trying to hold it for, all that kind of stuff. If that's not there, you don't have to trade. What you could do, option C, would be line up a couple of putts and let's see how good you are.
Line up a couple of putts?
I've heard a lot. So on the floor, a lot of the boys play golf every now and then when it gets better. I can't really golf anymore because of my back, but from what I've heard, Max has some game. So you guys were making. By the way, I saw the chat when I was doing a practice putt, and Brad put me on the camera. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'd like to see how you step up when you're on camera and the lights are on and there's some pressure on you. It's up to you. We have the shot there.
I'm game.
You guys tell me.
We're not at the low yet on Tesla, so I got a couple.
I'll yell at you. I can have Tesla up and I'll yell at you. But right now, not much is happening. I'm in a few moves that are not going to be gigantic, I don't think. Amazon did give me a fill. That's a 30-cent. That's a 30-cent winner. I think if the market rolls over, this is okay. Apple essentially going to give it to VWAP here on that reload. You're not churning a huge range right now. So if it was ever a time that we're going to do something like this, heck, man, we got to 400,000 subscribers today. We can have a little bit of fun and see what happens. I'm just going to wait until Max is actually lined up and ready. Why is Uber flying, says Asif. Is it flying? Uber is above 40, so it's doing well. Yeah, the 40 level on Uber was gold today.
Get the fuck out of here.
Look at that. Look at that bad boy. Closed at 40.20, double bottom 40 yesterday, bottom at 40, back into the highs. Uber's been on an absolute tear. This is a breakout candidate this afternoon. I know it's been sleepy, but I like Apple here. But, if the market breaks out, you could have this taking the top as well on a good breaker. You let me know when you're ready. Do you guys have the shot? Because Max has it lined up, and I think he's ready to go.
I am ready. What's the challenge here?
You gotta sink one in each of the 3 holes. One at a time.
In each of the 3 holes?
Yeah, you go one to...
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. Let's go. Get in the hole. Oh, way too much power. Way too much. No finesse game at all. No finesse whatsoever. There it is. Good. Oh. There it is. 1 for 2. There you go.
Congratulations!
Look at that angle.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. Who's next?
Okay, that's pretty good. I got to admit, that was pretty solid. You got some game there, Max. The ones on the side are tougher because you have to have a little bit more touch on them based on where the lip is. So I'll give you some credit. That was pretty good, man. I haven't sunk any. I can hit the middle. I haven't sunk the sides at any point the last 2 days.
The sides are too hard.
It's a challenge, man. It's a challenge.
Very challenging. We'll see if we have some more competitors come up. I don't know. I recall, some people were joking about putting for buying power.
Well, okay, so
I don't know if that's going to pass through compliance, but
It's not.
Maybe
I mean,
beers.
they can putt for beers. I don't like. So the way compliance works, anybody can make a BP request. Right? So you make a buying power request on the prop floor, it goes to compliance for approval. Obviously, your P&L gets checked, all that kind of good stuff. So you can always put the request in if you sink 3 putts in a row. It doesn't mean you get it. There's another competitor.
Oh, there's Danik
we
stepping
can't
up
see-
to the plate.
Ooh.
Oh.
We don't get to see the second one. That's okay. So while you were gone, Uber is strong today. And if you look at this, held the 40 channel and could be breaking out the top. So I'm looking at this one. It doesn't have, like, nothing has great volume. So a lot of times you'll say, well, do you like a top end break here or there? And you complain about the fact there's no volume for the breakout. Well, relatively speaking, there's not a lot of volume in this afternoon trade. So you're not going to find fantastic looking top breaks on bigger cap names, as they have another couple of putts going there. So Uber, if we can make a top break, it doesn't look like it. The NASDAQ continues to roll back over. Apple's going to stop me out, and bye-bye Apple. So Apple's underneath. That just leaves Intel, which is close to break even. That's going to trail out pretty soon. Let me just go back over to Apple for you guys. So Apple does not hold on. I had back in at 80. My average price ended up at 60 because I was still holding some from 181 change. But that's now broken back to the downside. I'm out of it. Amazon continues to work, but Intel, that one's going to be back at VWAP. It could still bounce off VWAP, and there's a scalp trade to be had here on INTC, but that's just about it. What else? CVNA, I think that's pretty much done.
Yeah, kind of
19s.
holding 19 for now, but yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens on Carvana tomorrow or Monday, I guess.
You can trade it tomorrow.
I know.
Hey man, Robin. Well, I guess when
Robin Hood weekend trading?
No, but I think that they're rolling out like the 24. It's 24/5.
Oh, okay.
It's
So
24.
just
It's
overnight.
24-hour trading, but it's only on weekdays, and then it's only. I think it's a limited number of symbols, so like all liquid stuff.
Yeah.
Although nothing's really liquid in the aftermarket, so.
Yeah, anything that they're willing to take the risk on to fill you, probably.
That's basically it. But it's Blue Ocean, which we have access to Blue Ocean at Day Trade the World.
Yes, I have seen that come up on the
So you could,
search.
if you trade in a Day Trade the World office that happens to be open and opens the doors, or if you have a connection to Day Trade the World, you could already be trading through Blue Ocean in the off hours. It's just the question. The reason not many people or nobody does it is a matter of liquidity. Like anything you're used to doing, you're not doing at that time in the evenings. Like it's just not happening unless there's an event. I remember when there was the, let's be real, it was the first Trump election.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, the futures were going to move that day. And I remember getting them, like the guys on the floor, they came to me and they're like, look, somebody has to be here because we're trading the futures during the election. It's just way too big of an opportunity. I was like, okay, well, rock, paper, scissors between the manager and myself, because I live out of town. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to trade it, and I didn't want to have to come all the way in the evening, come back in or stay that night and then try to get back up in the morning. Could have just slept in the building. But anyways, that was a big day. Blue Apron, $10 incoming.
Really?
So yeah, this was a decent short, but it holds. Now it's breaking back out. It's going to do a fail break at 10 even. It halted a couple times on the way up, but there has not been a halt since. Bit of size at 10, not a ton. Does feel like it wants this break. Where would it halt? It would halt above $10 because it's coming from $9. It doesn't look like it's going to be moving fast enough to halt quickly above 10, but if it does, that's probably worth it. I don't love halt trades late, but above $10, that's not that bad to take a quick little shot. I think you can go further. Just to show you guys in the higher time frame, I don't know how far. Crap, that's not even going to do it justice here. Like you're in the no man's land here on Blue Apron, unless I go way, way back. You're going too far back for anything to matter. So you are in uncharted territory. Just remember, these guys are making a really big double up at 10. Like it was a $5 stock, so 10 has some psychological wins to it. But it does look like it wants to hold above for now. So you might actually get this holding above 10 even. I don't know that I want to be punching long up here.
I like those afternoon kind of squeeze longs
It's
sometimes.
not bad.
But
What's the float on this again? It was, I should know this.
possibly not so bad.
The float on Blue Apron is, where the heck is the float? The short float's 12%. Why am I not seeing the float? 44 million.
It's not so bad.
It's done 21 right now, so it hasn't really, like that's not bad, but it just rejected the $10 break a little bit. So let's see what happens. Can it hold the previous high area? That's like 950 or so. that could give it some juice. That same setup just didn't work on MGOL though. I almost want this back above 10 even. I just tried one on underneath and that didn't work out, trying to get cute about it. So maybe it needs to retake the high, show bids back above 10 even, then it's maybe good to go.
I just took Tesla one more time off the bottom. I like the NASDAQ bounce that I was seeing. I like this 244.50 price from the last 20 minutes. Been kind of something. So let's see if we can get through the 50 period here back over 245. Try to get that trade one last time. See if it does eventually finally work for me here on Tesla. But yeah, I mean, coming into a lot of selling, but there's lots of buying as well. So mixed tape and holding above my level. So feeling decent about this one for now, but I do really want to see this through the 50 period and not resisting it anymore. I think this is like the best shot that I got for this to get through the 50 period and come back into my kind of prices that I think we can get to, that 246.50 being that inflection price that I kind of have in my mind on the day. Maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just creating something for myself, but once again, same style trade, don't let it go against you particularly far. I think
tight stoppage, right?
Yeah, tight stop on this one. Not going to let it kind of print below that wick that we just made at 35. So we'll see if this can go right now. Lots of buying coming in, looking decent. Love trading Tesla. And you can take all these shots at it and you're losing like 20, 30, maybe 40 cents on these shots, but then when it goes, you get
one goes.
$2 and you're back above, making new highs for your P&L on the day. So we'll see if we can do that on this one. Just kind of chilling for now. I guess NASDAQ decides for Tesla today.
Even NVIDIA here, like if you would have told me at the end of the week NVIDIA would finish the last hour with a $1 range, it hasn't broken out. Like this is doing absolutely nothing on NVIDIA. Blue Apron is making a bit of a move. It's trying to get back above that 10. I just want to see it clear out. Like, forget about it. Like, let's buy it on strength instead of on a dip. So if it does hold above 10 even, I just want to see buyers above that price. There it goes. Now it's trying to go. A little more convincing here. Get up. Get up. Hold up. Come on. Gimme, gimme always gets. Don't you know your manners yet? Okay, so it just filled some 12s. Prad, gimme, gimme always gets. That's all I'm saying. No, it actually doesn't. I just say that whenever I'm not getting a fill. I find that if you talk to the stock, sometimes it'll do what you want. In that particular case, I just wanted to fill. It's trying to hold that 10 even. I'll give it underneath. Obviously not an even dollar stop, but if I add to it, I'll tighten up the stop. Like if it breaks the high and I add, then I'll tighten the stop to 10 even, but I want to give it just under 10. But now it's starting to, oh, damn it, there's not even a chance to get in there. Poodoo. Oh, now it's going to hwadunk. Yeah, it's going to hwadunk. There it is. I just got half out underneath 10. I knew it was going to do that. I just got the ad, and then it got up to like 10.50, and then instantly hwadunked back in. As my stop was for the original underneath 10, so I only got out that one. So it is what it is there. But I made the ad. We'll see what happens. My price is 22. It's still for now holding, but I only have half the size because it just gave you that fake out.
Yeah, this Tesla trade hanging out. I do like the idea of that NVIDIA. It did wick that 387.50 price, so maybe I should have been going for that, which I was talking about. But again, like you don't really want to be going long the weak ones, but yeah, NVIDIA I feel like could definitely close at like 390, do like a open close same price kind of situation. Carvana breaking that 1940 kind of price. My Tesla hanging out, doing nothing. Just waiting for the breakout or breakdown, whichever way it goes. I'm not going to be too upset about it, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see if we can hold this 244.20 kind of area, which like anytime that it gets down there, it just buys straight back up, back over 244.50. So if this is the time that it doesn't do that, I got to bail out. But just yeah, watching it tightly as the NASDAQ is making a bit of a bounce back up to that 14,575, which has been a decent level today. So yeah, Tesla has to bid up right now or else I got to get out. So get over the 30s. Come on.
All longs have to bid up now. Like it's 325. That's the other side of this. Yeah. Like it's you got to what or get off the pot for lack of a better term. That's what has to happen here. So I mean, I don't know. I got back into what I had covered under 10 in Apron, Blue Apron that is. I still have it's a tight stop now. And I feel like the longer it takes to get going, like there's there's volume, there's some decent volume going up here, but there's not a ton of bids above the 10. Like there's a few that stick it in there at 12 and 15s, but you're not really getting follow through. It gets to 20, people kind of stop bidding it up, and it probably just gives it up. So I don't know if this one's going to be able to go. It's definitely got a decent volume. It's got room to go. It's got the float. And all those things are working for it. Now it's starting to turn a bit. Yeah, buyer at 20 just picked up there for 10K. I don't know. I'm less convinced about it before, but hey, if it gets to 50, I take some. If it gets to 11, I take some. It definitely has a chance. I just want to see the bidder step up. Like you're getting offer pulling, but then it gets to 40 and the bid's still at 30. And that's a bit of a problem. When you're making a new high, the bid has to be following back up to that new high. So as much as like it's so tempting to just scalp some of this out because the bid is not following here. I should have listened to my gut. Like the bid is not following this move on Blue Apron right now. Like it's making fresh highs like every couple of seconds or at least ticking up. Someone will buy the offer and there's no one stepping up on the bid here. So I'm going to get something out if it goes back up to 30 because there's a bunch of sellers up here. If I'm an idiot if I don't take anything when I see that.
Yeah, this one SSR as well. So sellers or short sellers can't hit the bid on APRN.
Yeah, they're just sitting on the offer.
So yeah, they're just sitting up there, and then they get filled, then it goes back down. Kind of weird price action.
I don't know. It's not. It should have gone by now. Like that last push up, it got to 1049, and then now it's going to get right back under. If it doesn't hold 10 here, I just got to give it up. Like sometimes it might not just be in the cards. It felt like pretty good for a while, but even right now, there's an offer sitting at like 1018. Yeah. And that's been happening every time it goes up there. It's just they keep refreshing and refreshing and refreshing. So it might not be in the cards. Get through them. Okay, now it's going to fill that guy at 1018. Where are the bids? Where are the bids? I can put the level 2
question is, does that person get run over if we take out this high at 1050? It's always fun to watch the tape and imagine what people are thinking when they're taking like this big size on these small caps, and like where are they going to get out if they're wrong? Because you got to assume that person
that took the
is
20
short because they weren't punching because they were just sitting there on the offer waiting to get short.
If they're long,
they get out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if they're long, they can be hitting the bid. If you're just sitting on the offer up here, it's the only way to get a short position is you're sitting passively. So we can make the assumption that a good number of the offers that show up there are passive shorts. It probably needs to retake the high for it to get going. That's the real problem here, because people just keep stepping up on it. You know what? I'm not going to sit there staring at it forever. It probably should have gone already. I have a tight stop on it. Amazon's actually not doing anything. There's just nothing else to be looking at this particular moment. Apple looking to dump. Well, I got out of my Apple, so if it dumps,
Apple does do a bit of a dump there.
Yeah, then it's dumping without me. Not that I wasn't short. I was long anyway. So okay, so maybe the good trade was just getting out of this one. Maybe we find a reload. I did get that reload there. I had a loss the original time I took it at 181. Then it just kind of jumped back in there. Best out was in front of 182. Yeah, the market wants downside here. Yeah, here comes Apron now. I think that one's going to give it up. Not too much luck there. Even Intel starting to give it up a little bit. The market starts to break down in too many names. Like Apple rolling over, I think that gives you some pause. Microsoft could be breaking VWAP here. NVIDIA's right on support. What I'm getting at is too many things breaking support at the same time, and the NASDAQ might give it up and you go red. Like that would be a legitimate concern if you're holding any long positions. Now, Intel's my only market long, and that's doing literally nothing, so I don't feel that bad about it. But yeah, you got to be at least a little bit concerned if you got those longs to the upside. What else do we have here? What else is moving? Because quite frankly, Apron this is ridiculous. I can't remember the last time I saw a 10 break that did this.
Yeah, usually you're either getting absolutely smoked or it's going like into a halt directly.
That's what this doesn't make any sense to me. Like you're either at 11 or it's halted down.
Yeah, that's how I usually.
What is going on here?
Expect those.
Yeah, I don't know. This is.
I mean, nobody's getting the moves that they want today on, on the market, except for the market makers on these small caps, I guess. Like
the market makers are loving it.
They are loving this. Open and close at the same price.
Shake some people out a little bit here and there.
Screw your calls, screw your puts. Everybody loses except for the big boys. That's how they do things.
Well, I mean, that's how it is, right?
Yeah.
Get going. Come on, you absolute whatever. It's still, there's
weird bids showing up, though.
But the bid doesn't follow. Look, the level 2 is always the same when it gets to 30. Like, where are the buyers to have it continue? There's just no buyers up here. So it can go in the money. It just doesn't want to fall. Like it gets into the 30s. There's some sellers, but where's the buyers? Where are they? No, they're nowhere to be found. There's one, but that's at 24. Nobody's buying this thing above 1030. That's the real problem. Like there's, someone shows up for 100 shares. You're not seeing anything. That's the problem with the tape. Like I consider being pessimistic. It just pops up again. Now there's a few, and they just get eaten up. You saw that, eh? That some buyers stepped up at 1030, and they got chewed up. Oh, come on, man.
This is tough to watch.
It is. It's a bit frustrating.
This is like one of those trades where you just punch in, set a stop.
No, I scalped some out. I've already scalped some out, and I have a 50 offer. I've got an offer in front of 11, and I have my stop set. So I'm only looking at it because what else am I going to look at right
Exactly. Maybe Carvana back through 1950 there. All right.
Maybe.
So Carvana catching a bid into the end of the day. Sharif talked about a swing idea or a swing strategy where at the end of the first red day, you buy for the trend continuation, which I wasn't aware that this is a swing strategy, but it makes some sense. So maybe that's what's happening right now, people buying into the end of the day. Or
we had an
covering
example.
Shorts.
Wasn't the example?
Palantir.
The example was Palantir, I thought. So it was like, let me pull it to 15. Like it was basically, I guess you'd buy, what the heck is wrong with, I'm missing data on this chart. Because it would have, the first down day, you would have bought it like here or something. Oh, Apron just gave it up. APRN. So while that was happening, it was pretty binary. Yeah, it decides to give it up. There's the Huadun, gets slipped a little bit underneath, and it tried to go, scalped some out, and now it gives up. There was just not enough buy action in there. Thought there was room. If it could have broken 11, I want to try to hold half through that, but yeah, not in the cards for APRN as it heads to the downside. You could kind of tell that it didn't really want it there, like the bidders weren't really strong enough. The upside potential definitely was there, just not enough buying above that. I could have sniffed it out a bit better, but what are you going to do? We took something out at least.
Yeah, that's definitely a good shot. I mean, that had the juice to go somewhere for sure.
Those top breaks, but it's $10.
Yeah.
If you're not going to take that, like, I don't know. You could have had this one off of, I don't know where else you would have had it unless you're taking like the scalp trade off the consolidations. Like that was the only time a breakout was, you could have maybe broken 950 and that would have worked. If you broke a 950 level, that's probably your only breakout trade on the stock. And then you could have been going into 10 even. It didn't halt down, even though it looks like it could have gone enough to halt down. It did not move a halt to the downside here. What else we got going on here?
Uber is at high of day, according to a couple people in the chat.
Top
41
rates,
level. I've never really traded Uber except on one really bad earnings day, but looking at the daily chart here, I mean, that 41 looks pretty juicy for this consolidation breakout maybe.
It's not bad.
I'm not taking that at 3:35 in the afternoon.
Oh yeah, it's 3:30. What am I talking about?
You know, you want, especially with like an Uber where it's really thick and kind of slow, you want time for that breakout to work for you. Even like just taking like a 10-cent risk, you still want to get like 40, 50 cents reward, and that's not going to happen between now and 4 o'clock, or unlikely to happen between now and 4 o'clock.
Yeah, like really, to be honest, like that apron was probably the only, like either that was going to go, there's nothing left.
Yeah.
Like Grom, like that Grom move, whoever said 55 was a big level on Grom, sometimes the play is, hey, if they're not going to go, just short it, right? Like if that's a big level and there's really no juice to the upside, then you can always short it. And if you look at it, like on the 15, you can see like where it's consolidating from. It doesn't have to pull back that far. That's 10%. You know, it doesn't really go that far down, but that's 55. It's sitting at 47, 48. It's still too big a spread in my opinion, but you know, you could be short 54, risk a penny and a half, and then you know you're getting out 50s and beneath. That's not that bad. But just checking in on AHI, I'm just kind of curious what the other ones were doing here because it was AHI, right? Well, guess what bounced? Guess what bounced? AHI bounced off 220.
You know that Prad's holding that short still.
See this, and that's the other problem. If Prad's short here, you know he's holding it for VWAP.
He's holding,
You know he's holding it for VWAP. And now all of a sudden, it's halted to the upside at 288. That's break even on the short. The tap is 286, so 88 with a 286 tap. He says he's chilling if he's shorted. I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're not. Absolutely. If you're short here and the stock looks like it's breaking down, it bounces off at 2 and heads back to $3, You were absolutely not chilling, Pratt. You were crapping your pants if you're short. If you're not, I'd be out already. Like, I would have already trailed out of this. That's how I roll. There's no chance, man.
First halt up, I think. On a day where you've halted up that many times, you probably got to get out on the open.
You have to take it. So it halts up here. You're out here.
Yeah.
I am market on open out at 260 if I had that short,
100%.
and I'm making 20 cents, and I paid 14 for the short if I had it. So you would have made 6 cents. I would have made 6 cents on that trade, if I did. But I would have covered some into 220. That's it's Prad that would have held it till the moon. Speaking of moonshots, this will not be a moonshot, but it's 335. And if Intel started to bounce after I reloaded off VWAP, it got a whopping 5 cents and is already turning around. But it is getting pretty late in the day. The early mock is 125 million to buy. That's not very big. That's actually very, very small. It's not a very big imbalance there. So I don't think we're going to have a gigantic 350 trade. You never know. Like, we're in a tight enough consolidation that you always want to say all bets are off. If we don't move very, very much in the, from like 2 o'clock till like 3:30, then there's always that chance that if it gets going, there's just a lot of room that it could make up here as everyone's kind of lulled to sleep. There's less liquidity. A lot of traders have given up. Then all of a sudden, the imbalance does come out, and then you can get a bit of a bigger move. I hope it's to. I guess I don't care which direction it is. I'm sitting in. I probably care. I'd rather it go up. I think because Intel off VWAP is a little bit better. It has news behind it. Amazon, as much as I like it, like Amazon, it started to work and then just went right back into barcode mode. So for Amazon to only move 30 cents, and Intel's a quarter of the price, and it has more room to the upside. So I would say I would rather the market go up. I'm not going to reload Amazon. Now that I look at this, I have zero reason to reload this if it gets back to 124. I'm just going to stop out just above break even. Like, Amazon is doing absolutely nothing. Like, there's no point. So we'll do that.
I'm kind of starting to think about this AHI, AHI, whatever they call themselves. Like, if we take out the high after a halt up here, AHI, okay, it's just AHI, Advanced Health Intelligence. Thank you, Trade Ideas, for saving me on that one. No reported short float, so it could be kind of crazy. Who knows?
Okay, that's weird.
I don't know. Like, if we take out the high here of 325, does this halt up again and like go to the moon into the close? Maybe. Like,
It's
do I
happened
take
before.
small size and try to get this, 33.23, 38.23. Maybe I take the high of daybreak if this halt open goes good. And I mean, anybody who's short today has to stop out over 325.
You got to think
You would
so.
assume. And
Especially-
if you're not, you're kind of nuts.
And the aggressive shorters, like, they found places to add.
Yeah.
Like when it started working, like, some of them would have been adding, and they wouldn't have been stopped out till it's at least above 3. And like the tight stopped, very, like, I'd say paper handish style. Like, I put myself in that camp. If you're shorting something like this, like, you're not. I would never be holding it. It's open back up here. It could take the high. I think some shorts that are still in this are probably, as Max said, really burned. I just took a top break that didn't work though, so I'm kind of feeling like, do I want to throw more at it after I just had the hit on APRN? I thought that had a chance too, and that one didn't go either. But this is obviously, there's upside here. There's no question about that. Like, you could be anywhere. If this breaks the top, you could legitimately be anywhere.
I'm wondering if we halt before it breaks the top, though. So I did actually put the order in for a high of day break.
Yeah, it could.
But I think we could halt before we get there. Maybe we get a little pullback, and then the halt band changes. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. This is not going to be a big trade for me, whether this wins or loses. So, just putting that out there. This is small size, and halt down. So,
Pratt,
do
stop
we
getting so
actually
excited.
get the halt down here? Prad's cheering his fantasy position on here.
His fantasy position. Oh, is it halting?
Oh, that almost fake halted
They
there.
almost fake halted, but then the offer just built right back up at 272. So that's kind of crazy. HI is about to go into the halt. Let's see if I can get that for you guys in time. Yeah, it filled everything on the offer.
Boom.
So basically, if you were on the offer there, you got filled, and it looked like it was going to resist the halt and bounce back up, and then the offer got stacked again. If that had not happened, like all those fills had come in and then it broke higher, it was game over for the shorts. That would have been game over.
I would have actually punched in on that if I saw that.
That's not a bad entry.
Yeah,
that's not a bad entry.
Those are really, I mean, it's a sketchy play because sometimes it'll go up 2 cents and then break the halt band to the downside, and then now I get stuck at a halt at like a way worse price. And then
well, you got to punch out almost flat though.
Yeah.
Like your stop is like a cent underneath there.
But like sometimes you don't have a chance.
That's true. Sometimes you can't get out.
But yeah, this one's looking at open 9 cents higher rate, or 9 cents lower right now. So not the end of the world. It's not one of those crazy like, halt down and then 50-cent drop here, but still up 777% on AHI. So we got room to go down for sure as Grom taking the high.
Grom could take out the high at 55. So by the way, there's more size at 56 than there is at 55 on Grom.
Interesting.
So actually, no, it's about the same.
Actually, level.
It's about the same. Like it's the same amount of size on the offer at 55 is at 56. And when you pull up the daily, which is mine going to work? I got to zoom in here. You said 56 was a bigger level. Yeah, when you zoom right in, 56 was the previous support. So there's more. So 55 break could be a bit of a trap because there's so much resistance at 56. Always make sure if you can't see the depth of book. This is still on AHI. Like if you can't see the book depth, this is what I mean. That's 55. That's 56. And on the daily, 56 is just as significant. And the problem with taking a punch there is fine. It might work, but that's 2% that it has to chew through. What you could do is, 56 breaking, and then you could stop out at 55 on taking a 56 break. So it just resisted 55 again, and it's pulling back in. So I don't know that I would want that one for a breakout trade. Not that the breakouts have been going anywhere here today.
Yeah, that's true. Like they've been working very well for quite a while now, and now kind of, a little bit more bamboozlement on the breakouts today. So
I'd say so.
Yeah, I mean, the market's basically closing exactly where it opened, and a lot of these stocks are doing the same thing. Tesla just did that little dance below 243.50 and then right back above, so that could have been a little setup there. If you like that bounce play, I wasn't paying attention to Tesla. We were looking at that little AHI or AHI, whatever you want to call it.
AHI.
Maybe craving sushi right now? Who's little ahi tuna?
I could go for sushi.
Yeah, I could do a little.
Wait, hold on a second. I'm just gonna
make a.
No, I'm literally gonna message my wife. Sushi question mark.
Nice.
Sushi question mark. Seriously, I love sushi. She actually asked me a question like 20 minutes ago. So.
Anyway, Tesla's off the bottom now.
I didn't even see
that 245 looking like the level at the moment. I'm not going to take any more trades on Tesla. I've had a good day on it. I gave some back in this area, so I'm done on Tesla today. I mean, unless it, does something absolutely insane into the close. Maybe there's some crazy buy imbalance that I could take on it. But even that seems like, I don't know. It seems like fishing a little bit. So chilling on Tesla. Probably not taking any more trades with only 15 minutes to go into the close. Thinking about what's happening after the close. I think probably a putting competition for some beers there.
I'm gonna 100% guess there will be some putts made. That's
there will definitely be some putts made.
Well,
putts attempted.
There's a couple people. Did you answer? I've seen a couple of questions asking for any advice about CVNA, but no specifics. Because I just saw David Alfonso saying, "Max, CVNA, any advice?"
Any advice? Well, it depends on like where you are on Carvana right now. If you're flat, I would say chill and wait for Monday because that 17 level, like we talked about earlier on the daily, is like the key level, and I think until we break there, Carvana's move is still on. But I think that shorting 19 right now is kind of insane, and I think longing 19. I mean, maybe you long 19 with like a 16 stop if you're swinging it, but I don't really love that either. I want to see what happens on Monday. Where do we open? Where do the market makers send this thing before they open on Monday? And I mean, if you're long down here at $10 or $6 or $7, I would say the swing is still on until you break 15 or 16 or close below 17, let's say. I don't know.
And that's all we're ever going to do, right? Like, so, you know, we're here live trading, right? So we're just going to show you we're both traders for a while now. Obviously, I'm an old man, and Max has a nice young, fresh brain. Don't call me a boomer. But look, we're going to be able to look at the charts and say, this is what the setup looks like. This is what the trend looks like. This is what the technicals are. Maybe even some fundamentals out there. At the end of the day, everyone has to make their own trades. That's the first thing. Like, no one can hit that key for you. It's just about trying to learn from, like, what is someone else looking at? Like, what's the key price level? What is the price action telling you today that could inform you making a decision on Monday or at the close? So hopefully that helps. Obviously we're not here to tell you guys what to do. Yeah. Nobody pretend to. Like, I'm not managing anybody's money or pretending like that's what we are. We're just we're just trading here all on the trading floor. And there was a question, I actually just saw a question out there like, oh, can we see what everyone on the floor is trading for? Like, what are the positions the floor has? Now, the reason, obviously, we can't do that, everybody that trades live for you guys on the show has agreed to do it and be transparent. But there's traders out there that haven't made that decision that might be on our floor. And it's not fair to them if we said, hey, by the way, the floor is net long this or that. So we would not do that. But we can tell you guys what we're doing because we've made the agreement to do so. And all we ask from you is to...
Hola, like and subscribe
she's not even
today.
here? She's not even here. I turn around and, like, Kat's not even there. She's still here. I can see her jacket, so unless she wants to leave the leather jacket around. Cute Puppy, thank you very much for the super chat. Great job today, Neil Shreve, Max, and Yannick. Thank you very much. And Obi was on as well today. Do not forget Obi Trice.
The king of the jungle.
King of the jungle there. I don't know what's MYR. I don't even know what currency that is. Let me know where you're from there. I can probably just look it up. MYR.
Malaysia?
CAD. You want to say Malay? You're right.
2 for 2 on guessing the currencies.
What was the other one?
Somebody donated Norwegian currency
on
the midday show.
It's like kroner?
Yeah, Norwegian kroner a couple days ago.
Nice.
So, yeah, maybe there's a career in guessing currencies somewhere.
I don't know that there's a career in guessing currencies.
Grom is through that 55, by the way.
Well, probably should have traded that instead of watching paint dry on Intel. So.
Went to 58, so you get a 3-cent move. That's 6% on the breakout, and it is holding the 56 price. So.
That is a good. That's not bad. 56 break bad. With the 55 out. You're already at 2-1. That's the thing about penny stocks, man. You flip. I didn't look at the level 2, so you tell me how the level 2 looks and whether you can be really trading it. But
I think like if you're talking really trading it and trying to make real money, possibly not. Given that.
Oh, actually, no, that doesn't look that great.
Like 40,000 shares is the most that you can take. That's on the offer. If you're looking at the bid, the most that you got.
You're long 5.
If you had 10,000 shares here, you're crossing down 2 cents.
You're going
possibly
5. That's
more
5
to get the fill.
It's not. That's not enough.
Yeah.
So
I mean, could, like, you know, yeah, it's only $200 or $300 on 10,000 shares. I don't think that the risk reward makes sense there. But I mean, I don't know, if you're trying to pad the stats at the end of the day, you want to make $30 and take 1,000 shares, I guess you could do that.
Yeah, a few thousand shares there makes sense. So the limiting factor on any trade. By the way, just one note because I'm still in a couple of things. I just took some intel out. Now it's starting to tank back down. I will not reload. It's 2 minutes before the imbalances. I'm going to have a trailing stop out on this. If it breaks stop, I am out. But the thing about scaling anything is, outside of your buying power, your risk limits or whatnot, like the only other factor is the liquidity level of the stock. Right, so like that, you have to factor that in. Like, it doesn't matter how well you do or all that other stuff or what your buying power is. If the liquidity is not there on the stock, you can't scale it. And so if you see us say, the reason a day trader says, regardless of their share size, I would not trade this stock because of liquidity, because it's not scalable. So why would you practice at something, even if you're just starting out? Why would you try to develop a strategy that wouldn't be scalable if you continue to do it? So even if it might look okay now, if by the time you get to where you want to be, you can't actually make that trade, there's no point practicing it.
Exactly.
So practice on things that are scalable, because then at least you won't, when you want to scale up, you don't have to change what it is that you're doing. If you have to change what you're doing when you scale up, you've made a mistake, because then you're going back to the drawing board on bigger size, which makes no sense to me. Ian Rispetto, what do we think about Oracle? It has earnings on Monday after the bell. Best guess in info out there on them trends. Look, the stock is trending because it's catching a good wave off the AI and cloud. Cloud names have been pretty good. This is a good comeback story on Oracle. quite frankly, candidly, I own this one in my long-term account, but I don't really like this from a long time ago, so I can't really claim to fame on this. I just held it for a very long time, so that's. When you hold something for a very long time and then you're up on it, that's just because the market only goes up, not because you did anything great. So the trend is absolutely gorgeous on Oracle here. I got to say, when it's this far up, we saw what just happened. Imbalances are going to come out. Sorry, guys, we're going to come to the imbalances for a second. When the stock has come up this far, it has to be perfect. Otherwise, you could run into some trouble. That would be my fear with Oracle. So Apple, sell imbalance of 1.6. Microsoft, sell imbalance 1. Data, 900,000 to buy. Not that that matters. Intel is a sell of 700,000.
These are pretty small today.
Actually, just going to punch out of Intel there. Everything's pretty, nothing really that big.
Like Amazon
SoFi,
is 60 million.
Where's Amazon? I didn't see it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like 58 million down.
Oh, there it is, way down there, but it's a sell. Okay, I have
yeah,
some of
it's
that
a sell,
left, not
so
much.
nothing really there. Apple, I find, has come out as a sell, like a big sell quite a lot recently. It seems like some big players trying to sell Apple recently. But yeah, I was looking for Tesla on there. If there was like some big buy imbalance, maybe you get that 245 breakout and get like $1 into the close, but nothing.
But nothing there.
Yeah. So
yeah, Apple's the big one, really. Apple's definitely that big one. And you see, like, that's actually still heading down. So probably a good out to get out of it. Like, where is it going to end up here, relatively speaking? Yeah, it's going to end up holding the lows at 181. What a great stop out that was underneath 181. Not really. But I love looking back, and it's like, sometimes you just make the bottom wick. Got it back, but still made the bottom wick. And that's going to be part of the game. Amazon is the only trade we got left. That's curling down. You know what? This is the low of the day. I said I would take some out there, and it gets back into the low of the day. I don't know that this is. I don't know if we're going to have the juice to break the low. They're very small imbalances altogether. David Kozak's asking about a Kovacs. It's just like, what is it, from Rorschach, from one of the greatest graphic novels of all time, which if you've never read it, you probably should. Target, there we go, Target. I'm like trying to pull it up there. I'm like, yeah, it's a New York stock, not a NASDAQ stock, Neil. This stock is in a downward trend till it says otherwise. When you're looking at a trending stock, like what is it doing that has told you that the down, I don't care the reason, like you can get in all the reasons you want about why it's going down, but the trend is your friend, and look what's going on here in Target. About to potentially break a new fresh low here if it cannot hold on to the bottom. 126 and change. It's just still falling. It's gonna, if it gets anywhere near those pandemic lows under $100, I don't care what the story is. I think it's a buy down there, but that's a long ways away. Brendo.
Just reading a note here, guys, on Alzheimer's stocks. So Biogen, Casav Sciences, and ALZN all moving here. There was an FDA panel that was voting on, I guess, clarifying exactly what it is they need to see to be able to proceed with a specific treatment. So long story short, they voted 6-0 in favor of this being passed. So 6-0 in favor. So Cassava Sciences here popping up on volume.
$80 winner. The other day, sorry, this morning I was talking about, I couldn't remember the stock, but it was Cassava Sciences. Arun, like Sean was off a week. I was trading with Arun, and I had this like a huge win on Cassava Sciences. I got up for like $20 and it went like 50. And like the next day, Arun's holding it and he's like $80 in the money. It was just stupid how far the stock could run. But Cassava Sciences used to do like ridiculous stuff.
Yeah.
The second he said Alzheimer's, I pulled up Eli Lilly because that's like the first thing I thought about because that's what I own. But that actually did not move there. So yeah, I mean, definitely worth watching. But Sava this late in the day, it's not like we would trade that, and not really much of a move there. Lilly's such a beast. Yeah, look at Cassava Science is so far down. Got a little bit of a bump, but that's a name if it starts squeezing, like you could break a 25 next week and just
go to 100.
It's done crazy things in the past.
It has. I don't know what happened with that one. I don't remember the news on Cassava, but there was some crazy drug that everybody thought was going to cure Alzheimer's, and it went up to the moon. And then one day they get like a short report or something out.
It went
and it goes
150
all
to
the way
like
back
70.
down.
There was a day that it went 150. Like there was a day before. So I'm gonna show you the. I don't know. I'm trying to remember in there because that's like the weekly. But it did like 2 days. I don't know. There was a couple of days in there where we had like the biggest retrace ever. But I don't remember the exact numbers.
I remember that retrace off of 100 actually. exactly off of 100. I think I see that on that chart.
It was nasty. Sorry, it's still on the 2-minute. So it's still on the 15-minute chart. 5 minutes to go was an overall 1.3 sell imbalance. You saw Apple was the big one, although Apple not really moving all that much here. It's still a good upward trend. You're going to end up closing off of those lows. I want to check just out of a lark, what did Apron do? Like I got stopped out in Apron, which is a New York stock. That's still okay. It bounced a little bit, but yeah, it's probably right to get out of that one. Kind of sucked. Grom, that was the other one that was going. If you had that, it broke. It gave 3 cents. It's right back to 50, so that failed to break to the upside. Past 355, probably got to give up Amazon. It's still falling, so I'm just going to keep trailing it. Don't really have anything left. Small amount left on that one, so we'll kind of hold it and see how far it can go.
Yeah, I'm watching Tesla did a little fail there of 245, so struggling to close over that price, but no buy imbalance on that. I'm watching the imbalances. There's nothing really there. That Microsoft one still sitting at like 100 million. Looks like Apple mostly paired at 100 million as well. So everything pairing off, chilling out. Apple's still going down though, interestingly enough. Maybe take a look at Microsoft, what's happening there. As NASDAQ's kind of making some new recent bottoms here. Wow, Microsoft's actually really falling off here through that 327. Now, you know, we're missing a little bit of data on this chart. Maybe I can refresh it. Nope. But yeah, we're down like you know, a dollar basically off of that imbalance on Microsoft. So that's it's a decent little move there. Maybe if that imbalance pairs off, it goes straight back up there. But yeah, NASDAQ definitely kind of
Apple's
flushing,
dumping,
but dumping into the close for sure as Apple dumps as well. Amazon as well. Are you still short that Amazon?
Not much, but it's still it's going to hold 123 is my guess. That's the low. If you look at the low of the day, this was 123. That's what we thought it might get to, but I foot off the pedal when we went over to other names. I'm like, yeah, it's not going anywhere. So I didn't really add to it on this consolidation. That was probably a really good place to have been adding to this short. But you guys heard at the time. At the time, I kind of thought we had a chance at bounce, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get away from Amazon. I'm not going to add to that position. Was the wrong move. I have a trailing stop on it. We have 3 minutes to go. Is Cat going to be able to ring the bell is the other question I want to ask. Apparently not. 3 minutes, and we didn't even cross the 700 likes. Max went 2 for 3 on the putts. I thought that would get the likes for sure on itself.
I had to go 3 for 3 apparently.
I guess everyone's exhausted from getting us to 400,000 subscribers, but you got to remember to also hit the like. Take a quick second. It's been a fun week. Don't always get a ton of movement in the market, but we're here regardless. We're here no matter what. That's what it's all about.
Oh, yeah.
If you got some shorts on, congratulations to you.
Congratulations!
Because that's the way the market decided we wanted to go to end this week. I don't know if the NASDAQ's going to end up holding on its gains on the week. We'll let Brendan tell us in about 2 minutes or so. But here we go. You guys are going to get us to that 1,000. We know what's up. And I mentioned Target without pulling up what it was doing today. I just pulled up the daily chart.
Nasty.
That is nasty, down 3%. The trend is your friend. I have not looked at this stock for a day trade, despite that trend. Like
on earnings are decent, but like
on earnings, it's decent. If a stock is doing this every single day,
and the spread there looks like it's
why not
2 cents, 1 cent. So
I mean, it
this
looks
is a
like it
tradable
trades.
name.
Looks like it trades pretty reasonably.
Yeah.
8 million shares in volume. Now this is kind of dirty in the open. Like that's really choppy. But once it gets going, you got to be able to find something to the south side. When the trend's that good, you just come in looking short, find something, and then go on from there. There's a trade out there for every occasion, and Target probably can't be ignored at this point.
Yeah, Target back. I mean, I don't know. Like, it looks like it's really breaking down on the daily. That's what the market makers want it to look like when they are trying to buy. But I mean, this doesn't look like they're trying to buy. If we do get back above like 130 on Monday or whatever, or next week we do a little consolidation down here and then back up, maybe Target's decent for a move back up. But I'd only be looking short on this name. When did they report earnings? I guess it was this day.
Usually, hold on a second. 1 minute to go. 1 minute to go. We haven't crossed 900. Kat is not going to be happy because she doesn't ring the bell. I'll probably have to throw something at the bell at this point. Not that I have anything to throw, but I don't want to throw the trophy. I don't know. We only got 40 seconds to go. Target is nasty. Their earnings were this reported back in May 17th. So earnings were a while ago. Kat's so nice, she's going to ring the bell for you guys anyways, apparently. which is okay. I would not throw Max Bears versus Bulls. Like, you think I'm not sure. What do I look like, Sharif? Not throwing a human being, crying out loud. I'm not that strong.
Yeah, that's what Sharif does for fun.
I just got trailed out of Amazon. I'm going to cancel all my script orders, make sure those are all gone here. But with 10 seconds to go, it's the end of the week. It's been a fun one to be sure. I want to thank, obviously, everyone for getting us that 400,000 in 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ring it. There it is. The market has closed. Did we actually? I'll let Brendan tell you where the market ended up. It wasn't all bad despite that move to the downside and all the negativity overall. The market did not do that bad on the day. It just felt like a weekday there, Max.
Yeah. I mean, we end up up. So, bunch of chop, basically flat on the day, though. That's what they want to see over at those, what is it, Citadel or whatever?
Citadel, Virtue, all those fun guys. The market makers love a day like today. Brendan, let's make it official. How do we end up?
Just got there, guys. Here's the look. 0.12 for the S&P, 0.13 for the Dow, the Russell 1, 2, and 3,000. You can see it was the Russell 2000 there that struggled most of the day. The NASDAQ and NASDAQ composite as well, both positive. Hey, we'll take it. Heading into a monster huge week next week, guys.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, still up on the day. It doesn't always feel like it. Steve G, almost a catastrophe. That's a good one. I like that. You're channeling your inner Batman, but like the 60s Batman with Adam West there. It's been an absolute blast. I want to send out a thanks again to everybody that has supported this channel and helping us get to 400,000 subscribers. It's only the beginning. We want bigger. We want better. I'm going to run my thank yous down, starting with Mad Max here, filling in for Mr. Katina for a couple of days in a row, doing a fantastic job, obviously crushing it, making everyone else look bad, not just with the hair game. Although, by the way, just indulge me for a second. How does a guy with the groomed hair have a picture with him with a beanie? We got to update that picture. It
was cold.
They kind of surprised me with the, we're taking a picture of you today back a couple months ago. And I mean, I had the beanie on and the hair's all messed up. So I can't let them take a picture of me with the bad hair.
Can we at least hook the guy up with a new picture the next time he's on here? Like, it's a little bit ridiculous. That's just my 2 cents. But thank you to Yannick, of course, and a big shout out to Obi, Sharif as well, the entire team doing a fantastic job. But we always ask, like, what are the plans? The air is not that bad this weekend. Brendo, what are we doing this weekend? Because apparently we can breathe outside.
I was checking this afternoon. It's supposed to be bad again tomorrow specifically, but then Sunday not bad again. Okay. So I don't know. I think it changes as the wind, literally as the wind changes. So we'll see. It's smoky again today. I'm not sure.
Boo. Yeah, it might be a bit of a nothing burger there. Oh, thank you very much for the super chat there, Nicole Harris. Congratulations. Love you guys. Almost more than Tesla. Fair enough, because if you own Tesla, you should probably love Tesla more than anything else, the way that stock is going to the upside. But yeah, I don't want to hold you guys up for too long. Thank you so much for the entire team here down the line. By the way, on the 1s and 2s, great job today. The entire crew there, Fabian, Alfredo, Prad, and Mark, who's always around here doing a million things at once. For the entire Trade TV Live team, that's Brendan. That's my man, Max. For my man, Sean Katina, I'm Neil. We'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Bye, guys.